When I think of the color blue, I think of the ocean at Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Cape Cod is a peninsula that touches the Atlantic Ocean located in eastern Massachusetts. I've been going to the Cape ever since before I can remember. My mom's side of the family lives there, so we go visit them every single summer. Before I moved to St. Louis in the 5th grade, my family and I basically spent all summer down at the Cape. When we were little, we aren't considered completely baptized until our feet are dipped into the Cape Ocean. Although I don't remember those days, I remember unofficially but officially baptizing my little niece. As a baby, I was terrified of the ocean. I hated how loud the waves were. I did, however, love playing in the sand. Then I grew up a little and I started to love the ocean. I became very brave and started going on my own. It really scared my mom and dad to death. I liked the beach a lot, not only for the ocean, but because there was so much to do there. On windy days, I flew kites with my Uncle Joe. One of my favorite things to do at the beach was build sandcastles with my cousins. Like everyone knows, the sand by the water was the best building sand. Then I grew up a little more. My brother always tried to take me boogie boarding. We didn't quite understand that you both couldn't sit on the boogie board, so we flipped off many a times. The worst part about the Cape was that my mom always tried to make us take our Christmas picture down there. When I was younger, there were only 4 of us, so these pictures were a real challenge for us. Can you imagine trying to get 4 little kids to look at the same place and smile all at the same time? However, now there's 7 of us, and these pictures are nearly impossible because it's even harder to get 7 grown people to look at the same place and smile all at the same time. Then I grew again. I learned that I could climb down the jetty and collect periwinkles. It terrified my mom when I did it because she was always scared I was going to fall, but I was really careful. I was really only allowed to do it, or I really only did it, when my dad or my uncle were watching me because their form of watching was falling asleep or reading a book. So, anyways, next to the jetty, there was a section of the beach with a bunch of big rocks on it that the crabs would hide under. When it was high tide, this section would fill with water and was actually really dangerous because the rocks were hard to see. However, when it was low tide, we would go crab hunting. I was always scared of the crabs, but my cousins and my brothers loved picking them up. They would run around trying to find them all. When we got a lot of them, we would put them in a pail, and we'd bring them back to the beach, and we'd dig a trail in the sand that led to the ocean, and we would make them race down the trail and take bets on who we thought would win. This was probably a little cruel, but it was a lot of fun. Then I turned into a teenager. I learned how to boogie board and ride the waves all by myself. Although I was sick of going to the same place every single summer, I never got sick of seeing my cousins, aunts, and uncles. That was always the best part about going. The beach is amazing, but seeing family and making new memories was always why I enjoyed going the most. No matter how old I was, something that always got me excited was boating. My mom and I loved looking at the huge houses along the coast that we would never, ever, ever, ever be able to afford. But maybe someday, marry rich. Just kidding. Kind of. The older I got, the more I was able to appreciate the beauty of the Cape. I remember going down there whenever I was very young, and my mom would just stare at it in awe. And I never really understood how she could do that since we went back there all the time, and it never really changed that much. I mean, it went from low tide to high tide, but that's about it. But the older I got, the more I was able to appreciate the beautiful hydrangeas that line the beach, which are coincidentally blue. I was able to appreciate the fireworks that lit off on the 4th of July, which reflected off the ocean really beautifully. I was able to appreciate even just the sailboats floating in the water by the JFK Memorial. Just everything was so much more beautiful the older I got. Now that I'm a lot older, summer classes and work have gotten in the way of me going back to visit every summer, which really, really sucks. However, this summer I'm bringing some of my closest friends back east with me, and I'm so excited for them to see everything I've been talking about. I'm excited for them to get their own Cape Cod apparel because apparently that's all I wear. Liz. Anyway, no matter how young or old I've gotten throughout the years, Cape Cod has always been a place to call home to me. No matter if I'm in Kirksville or O'Fallon or in Boston, I know that I'll always have a place at the Cape to go to. I absolutely cannot wait to go back this summer with my friends.